Hey guys, Tony here. So I wanted to do a quick TA on Wells Fargo and why I think it's about to sell off massively. I will be buying puts. I'm trying to figure out what the long dated put is that I'm gonna buy. But I think at minimum I might buy out like at least a year out puts for Wells Fargo. I don't know how this is gonna play out, but there's too many things that are showing up on my radar, not only for banks but for Wells Fargo specifically. Um, there's too many confluences that line up. There's too many things that are signaling to be like, hey, be very, very worried about what's going on right here in the market, right? There's a lot of stuff that's going on. Um, so first of all, this is the strategy that I use to trade forex is called divergence, right? Hidden divergence, bearish divergence, whatever. It's called divergence. It's basically when you take an oversold or overbought RSI and compare it to the actual chart itself. You can actually see this play out relatively pretty easily, right? So I mean, divergence is basically when you have the stock price be how do you call it? The stock price be in the complete opposite of what the RSI is doing, right? So right here, you guys can actually see stock price. What will happen? You get a higher high, higher low, right? On the Stoke, kind of the same thing. Not only do you have a double top, generally on the Stoke being kind of overbought, you actually have kind of a bearish divergence here on Wells Fargo, right? And that what that basically means is you on the stock price, bearish divergence looks like this. So the stock is trailing down this way, and the stochastic or the RSI shows something like this. That's what you would call a divergence, right? And this is on the monthly chart. You can see this right here. So that's the first part, right? That's the first confluence that we're looking at. Second confluence is you actually see price bounce off the 50 MA. So it's on the 50 MA, and then guess what? It bounces to the downside, right? So let me see if I can actually move this to the right a little bit. Let me see if I can move this over here. You can see right there. It hits the 50 MA, which is this red line right here. Hits it, crosses a little bit over, and then it's basically bouncing off to the downside, right? So that's the second confluence. That's the second one, right? The third one, it's essentially doing this move on previous support. So I would actually deem previous support somewhere along the lines of like right here at 45.61. So let me just add the resistance right there. So 45.61, I'd actually add it right there. 45. Yeah, generally around that area. That's basically where resistance is, right there. So not only do we have bearish divergence, which is a Stoke. Number two, let me see if I can actually add this in text form for you guys, because there's a lot of things going on that I want to talk about, right? So we'll add it right here. That way it's like easily visible, right? So number one, you have bearish divergence, right? That's number one. Number two, you have a bounce down from the 50 MA. Number three, it's hitting resistance. Hitting resistance. It actually used to be support, which is even more of a concern, but it's hitting resistance, right? Used to be support, but I'm not gonna write that in there. And let me see if I can find anything else. So this can actually be that. I'm gonna make that smaller because that's way too big. Let's do like 14. Delete that. This. We'll do like 14, right? There you go. Put it somewhere up here. Somewhere it's like easily visible. At least so we can have our confluences, right? Usually when there's three confluences, I tend to that's when I take a trade, right? That's usually when I take a trade. The only thing that's bothering me is that the 50 MA is over the 200, so I can't really use that. But right now, we have bearish divergence down here. We have hitting the 50 MA. We have previous touch on recent support. It's now hitting it as resistance, right? Oh, and you know what? We actually have that double top on the stochastic, so let me add that in there. Number four, Number 4, you have a double top. Let me see. Did I actually run it? Yeah, whatever. Double top on Stoke on the stochastic. And we also have a weakening month for the month of July, right? So we actually, I don't want to say we had a clear signal back here for the month of June, but usually when we have that red crossover to green, that usually gives me a pretty good indication of what's about to happen, right? I don't take any play unless there's actual confirmation. But down here, down here you can actually see what's actually going on, right? Oops. Let me see. I gotta make this a little bit better for you guys, but down here we can actually see what's going on. You guys can see that clear cross, that clear signal for July. Again, we haven't actually closed the month, so we can't actually make this an actual trigger yet, right? But just once July closes on the 31st, this signal on the reverse MAD on the my reverse MACD is going to be absolutely like legit, right? So we're looking at this. That's what we're looking at right there. We're looking at that green dot right there. Let me get out of there. So we have bearish divergence. We have a bounce down from the 50 MA. We're hitting resistance. Previous support. This used to be support, bounced up, and then now it's hitting it as resistance. And we have a double top on the Stoke. So Wells Fargo is looking horrible. And it's been trailing down since January of 2018, February of 2018. I mean, it's on a clear downtrend too. The crazy part is it's in a clear monthly downtrend. If you guys can see that, I'll add another. That's not what I was looking for. Delete that. I'll add another trend, right? But basically, look at that. It's been on a perfect downtrend for easily, how long has this been now? I'll change that to white so it's easily visible by you guys. But look at that. It's been on a pretty consistent downtrend ever since 2018, early 2018, which is the concerning part. And there's too many things going on right now where it's just triggering a lot of bad stuff, right? And I'm not saying that it's going to actually create it's not going to have the 50 MA cross under the 200. I think that's going to take a while to actually happen, but usually that's never happened, right? I don't think that's actually ever happened for Wells Fargo where the 50 MA crosses under the 200. But usually what does happen is when you have the first trigger and you cross under the 500, it tends to actually drop kind of bigly, right? And that's what happened right here. That's what happened for COVID. Originally, we actually had price actually cross down back here somewhere in October 2018, trailed back up, retested, and then guess what? Went all the way down. And I think we're going to see some sort of mini crash like this. I don't think we're going to go all the way down to like $20 again, but I do think we might drop significantly, right? It just seems highly probable right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in the market right now that kind of scares me a little bit, right? And seeing all these confluences come up to all these bank stocks is the real concerning thing, right? Because I can look at Chase, right? Let me look at Chase. Chase looks exactly the same way. You look at JP Morgan, right? I actually have this chart set up already. I'm thinking that in the next, maybe couple of months, we might actually see, new lows on Chase. Maybe we go down to $92, maybe we go down to $100. But again, I have everything basically set up already. Look at Bank of America. Do I have it set up? Yeah, the same thing set up for Bank of America. We have those clear indications on the reverse MACD, and then we're creating double tops on the stochastic. So again, this can definitely happen within the next couple of months. Also for Citigroup, look at Citigroup. Citigroup, I actually bought puts today. Citigroup has been bearish since the month of June. June actually closed bearish. It's lagging compared to the recent signals from Wells Fargo and Chase, right? And what is it? Wells Fargo, Chase, and Bank of America. Citi's lagging a little bit, but Citi tends to actually drop a pretty consistent amount over the last time that these month triggers for sell-offs are happening, right? So it's kind of scary to think about that every single bank is giving up the same signal, And then, bonds are increasing and the dollar is getting stronger and yields are dropping. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the market, generally making me feel like, hey, something big is going to happen. I don't know when, but it definitely seems like within the next year or so, maybe even the next 6 months. I'd say maybe Q4 of this year, maybe Q1, Q2. I don't know. It's kind of hard to really predict, right? It's kind of predict any downfall like this. Um, but I would be completely okay hedging. That's why I bought those TLT calls, right? Because I'm hedging. But I'm actually going to be buying Wells Fargo puts about a year out because I do think something is happening, at least from what TA is showing me, right? And we already have four confluences up here. We just need July to actually close on the 31st to really give me like some sort of trigger. And the thing is, July is a big catalyst for me on crypto. If crypto closes the month of July bearish, then I'd be extremely scared of holding my crypto positions because I do think that if July closes bearish, we're well underway at seeing Bitcoin back at like 20K and generally all the other alts falling, right? And we're more than likely there's a big chance there's even a bigger chance of seeing a full Bitcoin correction of 70 to 80%. So there's a lot of things happening right now that are making me very uncomfortable at holding crypto, at holding banks, at holding anything in the stock market. So just kind of concerning, right? There's a lot of stuff that I've been looking at. It's very, very concerning. And it's just, I wanted to share with you guys in case, you guys wanted to maybe look at your positions and kind of think things over, right? I wouldn't normally say this, but I'm getting the same. You know how I told you guys that back in, February, March, I was telling you guys, hey, I think Bitcoin's going to sell off. And I think it's going to sell off heavy. And guess what happened? Like 2-3 months later, Bitcoin sold from like 70K down to 30. We're at 30K now, right? I'm getting the same kind of, not I don't want to say the feeling, but that same sort of TA that I did back then for Bitcoin. I'm getting the same thing for banks, and I'm getting the same thing for bonds and for yields. So I'm just this is basically my warning or a fair warning to the overall stock market and just to people that follow me that see this, right? So if there's a video that you guys can share, it'd probably be this one, because again, there's a lot of things that are going on that I've never really seen before, and I've only ever seen things like this when we were right before that drop from the pandemic back in February, and then back again in 2018. So a lot of things are happening that are very similar to what's going on. And I think that there might be, I don't know what the trigger might be, but if there is a trigger, if there is something that happens that triggers the American economy to be scared, I do think we might see a mini crash similar to the one that we had back in February 2020. I don't think it's going to be a full-on crash, but I definitely think it can be very, very similar. If not, we have a slow bleed from here because there's a lot of things that are just very, very concerning. So with that being said, I'm going to cut off the video because I don't want to talk any bit longer. I'm in the bathroom and I got to wipe. So I'll see you guys later. Be careful in the market because I definitely think there's a lot of things that are popping up that are very, very, very concerning, at least from what the data is showing me. So, have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you guys later.